with all the communication devices that we're using. Now, John used to sit in the back of the bar, your right, my left, and he used to tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys came in. They were not old enough to drink. John had the bartender throw them out, and they left pretty pissed off. They came back the next night and tried to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John saw what was going on from the back. He slammed down his beer just like a linebacker does, and he goes up front and starts pounding on these guys, just beating the hell out of them. A couple of gunshots go off during that bar fight. John got grazed in the neck, but the bullet goes behind him and into the wall. He's the only one that got shot. He's the only one that got up. Goes back to the bar, tells the bartender, get me another beer, go get those 2 guys an ambulance. Irony of the story, nobody died. If I tell you a building is haunted, you're already preconditioned to think that some tragic death occurred here. What's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. So, now let's go ahead and get you back on mute. And yeah, you don't want to use that antenna. Like, we don't want to give it too much. Nope, mute is on this side. There you go.
What was his last name, the Giants?
Kennedy. Not Kennedy, like John F. Kennedy, like Kennedy, like open up a can.
Oh,
so
okay.
I know a lot of people with my Ohioan accent always think it's Kennedy.
Ohio?
We're also from
I know that. I recognize the area code. I used to live in your guys' area, by the way.
Okay.
I used to work at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Tower City Records. You know, something like that back in the day. Yep.
Nice.
So, yeah, we're going to have a chat about that later.
We'll talk.
Back to Big John. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. This is why we start here. I have 8 strangers in front of me. Did somebody already have a headache?
She had a major headache in there.
What?
Now,
She was like, I don't know why my head is hurting so bad.
how were you when you left?
Better?
I mean, if it lingered, that's fine.
It did a little, but
I mean, it's also humid and hot here.
Is it gone now?
Yeah.
Okay. Point proven, everybody. If you get those kind of symptoms, let me know immediately. We will remove ourselves from the area, but I'm going to blame the weather first every time. I'm not a TV show host where everything's a ghost. Okay, so that's, again, did it linger? If it lingered, it's just from the humidity. But if you left and it was like an immediate lift, like you had a world lifted off your shoulders, like that's a whole different story.
It was also about 100 degrees in there.
Yeah,
The AC
that's
was
what
out.
you said. Yeah. So that's what I said. It's definitely hot and humid. I know they had the door open, but still, it's hot in there. But let's get your mind off your own health, because that's probably the scariest thing I'm going to tell you guys all night long, just so you guys know, because it deals with your health of what could happen. We had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you don't know that from any other event, like a tour here in Charleston, because everybody talks about it, now you do. It's a weird thing for South Carolina because we're not supposed to have earthquakes. We get hurricanes here. Okay, so the building, Big John's, is allegedly where the first death occurred from the earthquake. The white mantle you guys see on the building, a piece of it broke off and hit somebody in the back of the head and killed them. The previous owner of this bar used to see, dark shadows in the middle of East Bay Street after closing. I want you to take heed that I did say the word allegedly a lot with that story. I have no proof whatsoever. It's just a great segue, so Sarah's not worried about getting sick again while we're out and about. You guys got the point. That was a joke. Thank you for laughing. Are we ready to learn more about your gear? All right. Yeah, I was going to all right, guys, this was the quiz. That was a simple yes-no answer. All right, let's do this. We're going to go up this way.
I wonder if that is.
I ain't scared of no ghosts. Are you doing that? It won't.
Wait, does Steve have one of those?
Every once in a while, we'll get like a whole swarm of police cars that kind of park over here for some odd reason. I just try not to interrupt. Normally, we would be right in the middle of that lot. You guys need me to fix something?
No, he didn't know if it was on mute or not.
It's not.
So does he want it on mute or he doesn't?
He does want it on mute when I'm talking.
Okay.
So the only button, AJ, is right here on the side.
Okay.
So none of the buttons on the front, they're already preset, and there's nothing messed up.
So you don't know when it's on mute or not?
You will. I'll unmute it just to give it, because it does take a second to warm up, because it's just like an old transistor radio. So
when he hears the crackling?
Correct. Okay. Just like it's coming through right now. Yeah. So you almost feel the vibration of it, because the speaker is, it's a super thin casing. So I'll give it a little bit more of a volume. It'll sound like that when it's coming through. But you got to give it about a minute to warm up. But it's back on mute right now, so you don't need to hit anything. All right, so this is the Big Red Barn, everybody. So this is where we hold some of the horses for your carriage rides. Okay, so and it's exactly why I like to keep that on mute, because the horses don't like the white noise. They'll pick that metal barn and scare the hell out of all of us. So, and normally we would be right in the middle of that lot, but there's too many police cars over there. I don't know what the hell they're up to, and I don't want to raise any kind of suspicions with a bunch of cameras roaming around. So the history here is just a one-liner. It just explains all your gear. It's the same Red Barn that held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So keywords here would be delivery, milk, eggs, anything relative to a stable. You guys are getting the point on this. So let's talk about all the communication devices we have. That's our word generator device and all of the spirit boxes. What's the first question somebody would ask a Ouija board if they were sitting in front of one? If you've never used one, think of a TV show that has.
Is there anyone with us
Right,
now?
exactly. So let's say the 9 of us stood around and I said, is anybody here? Just like they do on TV, right? And we'll just say, AJ, here's the answer, no. That means somebody's here. They answered us. You guys getting the point? We're not using yes-no questions. They're irrelevant to me. I don't even use them at all. So we're going to go after details. If somebody's here, tell me what color a big red barn is. Now we know we are looking and listening for the color red with all the other spirit boxes. However, the two of you and AJ are using song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey messages back to us. The word red might not be available. Fire truck, blood, heart, those three things specifically red. I may take that as a paranormal evidence if something else is going on. Another example, let's say Patty has the word art on her word list. That doesn't mean anything over here by itself. Sarah hears the number 40 coming out of her spirit box. If you put both of those two clues together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You guys see where this is more like an escape room, more so than it is a ghost tour? Yeah, we're not a ghost tour. Woohoo! So, yeah, welcome to Saturday nights, everybody. Woo girls everywhere. Can I say that out loud? So, yeah, woo girls. That's the thing. Woo girls. Woo girls. So, cameras. We will be in spaces where there will be parked cars and people walking around. So we don't film people, we don't film cars, especially with yours, Mike. If I was a thief, car thief, the only thing I need is a crowbar because I know the heat signature of the motor on that Honda sitting over there. So I can just, if it's still warm, they just left, I got time. Yeah. So we actually don't need, you guys are missing them and you're pointing your camera right at them. I'd be like, Lexi, put your camera down. We got people coming by. But anyway, this place used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion site. So their mansion sat in the front of this space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant behind you guys, over there to your left, and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. That's the layout of the land. So who the hell were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Chucks, in case you weren't paying attention. That's why we look for those secondary clues. In the event that Matt hears the name Charles, I need to know which one it is so I know how to address them. You guys getting the point on this, I hope. Everybody had the same damn names back in the 17 and 1800s. Now, back to the son and the nephew. They were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for South Carolina, but I hate politics more than all of you combined. If I don't give the gentleman their recognition for signing the Constitution, they will do it for me in a nasty manner coming out of a spirit box. So I just make sure I give them the recognition, we move on. We're going to talk about Eliza. She has a much better history anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say it slowly like that because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers from the colonial days that she came from when girls got married at 12 and 14. Think of today's standards because the husband was over double her age. So it's creepy age gap then, creepy age gap now. Just giving you guys a little bit of a heads up. Now, John's laughing at me like, yeah, that's kind of a creepy age gap. But anyway, moving on. She married him because her father was over in England, where her family's from. And Dad thinks he's dying over there in England. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put right here and got married. Well, it's 1744 at this time, and you don't get married back then to earn a green card. We're not a country yet, so it's not a thing. This is a true love story. Believe it or not, there's nothing horrific that goes on here. It's just haunted as hell. Moving on. She was correct. Dad did not die right away, and instead he starts sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes your blue jeans blue. Not one person is wearing it tonight. Awesome. Like, yeah, those aren't blue, are they? I can't see.
No. I had to check.
I did too. So, but anyway, that's how we use it today. But when Eliza got her indigo seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it going. It's not always this type of weather here, believe it or not. And then she learned how to make the dye, got a hold of her dad overseas, and told him that the rice plantations were going downhill, and they were going to make a killing with the indigo. So now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times, something absolutely unheard of. Now, that's the weird, boring stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the really weird stuff, because that's why you guys are here. Lexi, go ahead and lower your camera for me. So, oh, by the way, you're not on record yet.
No.
Oh, I was going to say, you can hit that record button while we're in here. So, back to what's going to happen here is I'm going to go through every type of communication device that we actually have. What is happening right now? Like, this is like a whole train of cars coming in. I was hoping the whole train was going to be leaving.
7.5
Okay, nice.
when you were talking about Eliza and Charles.
Now that's your baseline. Don't give me anything below that. I'll explain the EMF as we're going to be probably waiting on a little bit just for these two cars to leave anyway. So you're at a 7.5. That's good. So, communication devices, I'm going to assign you focus questions. I want you to keep in mind we do have 3 cameras running, my voice recorder, and all of the other communication devices. If Sarah's asking a question, Matt might get the answer. You never know. That's where this is going. By the way, it is drizzling pretty hard. So in the event that it gets any worse than this, and I'm going to take a look at the weather as soon as we separate, I'll kind of see where we're at with things, but I was not expecting this at all. It was like a 10% chance of rain, which usually means nothing. This is probably just hopefully going to pass by quickly because you see clear skies. So we'll kind of see how it goes. Focus questions. Your device gives us 1 to 2 syllable answers at a time.
Okay.
So your questions are going to be wrapped around the mansion. Very simple.
Are
Ready?
you listening yet, buddy?
Oh, I don't want them listening just yet.
Okay.
So your 2 questions. What happened to the mansion? It's not here anymore. And then if you get the what, we often get when that happened. So the exact date. And that can come out of any device. So your main question is going to be, what happened to the mansion? And yes, you'll ask it over and over again. Now you can ask these questions. What do you got?
I got gone. It says gone.
Did it just come up?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, so again, it's vague. I like where you're going with the conversational piece, but I want that specific answer for that solidarity of like, hey, this was evidence. So hopefully we're going to get it. So again, nice and easy. No. Sarah? Sarah and Matt? Yeah, we're really getting wet. We should probably see. All right, we're going to go back to where, like that lot over there, there's a little bit of a shelter over that way. That way we can stay dry.
Let me live here. Keep going this way. Online is walk toward him.
Let's go and stand still.
Come back this way.
Top of my head, no, I don't think so.
Okay. All the silly things you don't think are relevant, they're actually going to be relevant.
Does that thing pick up music?
Yeah, it's listening to the radio.
Okay, all right. I thought that's what I was hearing.
And that's exactly what you want. You want radio.
Okay.
So that's what we're using. So on the TV shows, let's get away from that truck. So on the TV shows, what they do, I don't know if you've watched this stuff with him or not, but they're using spirit boxes, but they're not using headphones.
Right.
So you can't tell if it's actual radio chatter or not. All they're looking for is any kind of answer. So I say, let's slow it down and actually use the radio chatter anyway. That's why it's like a 30 to 50% chance I can match it to where we are.
Right.
So that to me is a pretty decent odd versus might get one voice that comes through and then it's not going to be relevant at all, even though ratio of accuracy would move up to about 75% at that rate. But at least this way we have a grab bag of terms to see what sticks.
Right.
And that's the fun part of it. Because half the time you guys are getting names and numbers, I don't know what the hell they mean.
Right.
And I got to research. That's the fun part for me is the research.
Right.
But yeah, your camera, just like the one that I explained to Mike, it's small. I don't follow up with
So
it in
do I
real
ask the
time.
question?
You can ask the question of, like, what, I mean, she already knows what we're going to ask,
Right.
so by all means, if you want to say it out loud, go for it.
How old are you?
Somebody else might have got the answer.
Exactly. Somebody actually has the word age. Like,
Right.
Patty has the word
Right.
age on her
Right.
screen, so.
Ask her what her maiden name is.
What's your maiden name?
I heard part B.
Avenue.
And 15.7.
Okay.
87.
87.
No, maybe I didn't hear that right. I don't know.
It's
Was she
always
87?
it's always your first instinct. So if you heard house or mouse, I'm going to take the first thing that comes out of your mouth.
Okay.
She heard 87.
I guess I'll 87.
She died at 87.
Did she die at 87?
No. Oh, he's got something to tell me. I can see it on his face.
I just heard the word God and Jesus Christ a lot in the last.
You're in the holy city. You're going to hear a lot of religious terminology. So I just started like
Should
eliminating.
I tell her how she died or something?
What's that?
Should I tell her how she died?
No,
You don't even know. You're asking her.
You have to ask her.
You have to ask her, how did you die?
How did you die?
But yeah, anything
You've
that
already
comes
asked
up with
that,
those
though.
religious terms, like I stopped writing them down because there's so many of them. And if you listen, it's just like the word Charleston or the area code 843. You're going to hear it all the time from the radio commercials. I don't write them down because it's too common.
Yeah. The only number I've heard too is 30, by the way.
I did say how old she was.
Oh, did you? Sarah heard 87.
But you don't know that that's not a year.
What?
A year.
1887?
Oh.
What?
Could be 1887. Like a year.
It went like 80 something.
Wherever we have so many cars
So
over.
is that
There was something right there. Like, I felt it. When it went up, I felt it.
Were you born here?
She was born in England.
what?
She was born in England. Remember she came over?
I couldn't remember Blair Witch.
Huh? Don't kill me.
Remember Blair Witch.
Do you hear anything?
You can mute it, buddy. Hit it? It's that button, right? Yeah. Hit it. There you go.
But that's muting.
Yeah.
Right, but he's not going to pick up anything if it's muted.
We're staying in the same spot.
It's something I can debunk right away. You don't get the screen.
Come on, AJ, let's go over here and talk to somebody.
30 to 40 screenshots out of that video. Okay. This one takes the longest. And most of it comes up.
I got 34.
Walk around, buddy. Walk around it.
Some lingered born.
Again, this thing is gonna still has some spooky terms in there, like
You knew that was my grandmother's name, right? That was my daddy's mother's name.
I wrote it down.
I got 44.
44.
She was almost called Eliza Grace.
I almost thought about her. Eliza was married to Elijah. Eliza and Elijah.
You know that was your
Are you
daddy's
happy
mother's
here?
name,
What?
Eliza.
What happened?
I just said that was her name, Eliza.
I know.
That was the lady that we're asking questions about.
Yeah, I know.
That's her name.
I'm confused.
I didn't know if you knew that was your grandmother's, great grandmother's name.
Oh, Joyce Cajun.
Huh?
Who?
My daddy's mother was named Eliza.
Did she die here?
Huh. She died in Wisconsin.
Huh?
She died in Wisconsin.
I just heard 9 children.
9 children.
I don't know. I don't know.
9 children.
I think I'm just making stuff up.
So walk around.
It's just going to be random breadcrumbs.
Okay.
She might be telling you what she will choose.
Exactly.
When were you born?
I'm just filming y'all.
I heard college or something.
College?
College.
Oh.
Reliable it is.
Yeah. I've seen an actual figure right there. Yeah. I don't know where it was.
Did you like being here? I heard church.
When I was over there in that corner, over there.
Okay.
Sarah was here on Avenue.
Yeah.
Park.
I just heard you become distorted, and it sounded super distorted as I heard it. You become distorted.
Definitely missing some things in real time. So I think we're going to head back to the corner and kind of like try to give you guys the answers and show you how this pieces together.
Okay.
So I think we're getting the gist of all of the spirit boxes and how they work and all of the things. But let me show you how this goes. So yeah, camera's going to hit first and foremost. Those of you with cameras, let's keep them nice and low. If you guys are getting the point. And again, so John, with yours, this part going to come through. Yeah, looks like you're going to cut through us. Yeah, just point your cameras at the ground at this point. Don't make it feel uncomfortable. Let them go through.
This kid's sitting here telling me she's got a possessed doll. My land. Who y'all have a possessed doll?
I heard it. I heard that.
Oh wait, they have stuff.
Well, kids usually get
They haven't been conditioned to not look normal.
right.
Camera's nice and low. Try to get an angle going down the alley so it doesn't miss, because this is how we're going to be the entire time we're here. Even with yours, Mike, if you wanted to like switch sides to try to get a good shot, I love when people do that with that one. That's exactly what they do. So talk to me. What have we heard along the way? AJ, we'll start off with you. What did you get?
I didn't really hear much.
Okay, nothing coming out of it at all. Okay, Matt.
Nothing, just
I know we were chit chatting.
yeah, nothing yet.
Okay, Sarah.
I got 2,000.
Okay.
I got London. And
Okay.
then
Where'd you get London at?
it said there was like a commercial that said like in London, and then I heard international.
Okay.
Where were you?
Yeah. But
Oh,
were you closer to here or the parking lot?
maybe like midway.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Anything else?
And then I got like 2 take care of. That's all I got. I was like trying to remember everything.
The last 10 seconds I've gotten like 4 different sirens. I don't know what that's about.
Oh, I've got like that, like what's it called?
Okay.
Oh, I
Like
don't
an
like it.
emergency
Yes, I don't like it.
The reason I stopped you on London, that is my daughter's name.
Oh.
And when she's down here, she's usually on the tour. So if you heard like a "Where is she?" or any other phrase like that, and then you had the name London, you're probably wondering where she's at because it's the weekend.
That's creepy. I don't like it.
Patty, what you got? Last word.
Last word. Market,
We just passed through the market.
game, volunteer, symbol, punished,
That's it.
addition.
So that was the parking lot.
Oh,
We're still back at the lot at that point. Punish was.
Parking lot.
yeah.
Okay. All right, so the London bit, we're going to see if there's anything that's going to tie into that for me on a personal level. So we're just going to kind of see what happens there.
Okay.
So with this location, we're going to, by the way, we have the whole place to ourselves. Wow, super awesome.
What's this alley
This
called?
is Philadelphia Alley. This used to be called Dueler's Alley, which is why we're here. Every ghost tour comes down here, it's a staple. So we're going to keep AJ on mute on this one, and then as we go up and around the corner, we're going to be testing out John's camera very specifically because he'll be the focus on that over there. So very specific location of what goes on at that location. But this one, all the tourists come here because we all tell the same damn story because we can prove what happened. However, I'm going to tell you the same story but with a few extra details because we're ghost hunting, right? So here's how the story goes. The doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. In the event that the two Spirit Box listeners hear the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're here, it's not coincidence. We get it all the time because it's part of his name. Now anyway, Dr. Ladd moves down here because he is supposed to get married to his fiancée Amanda. Amanda just inherited a lot of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. Get him out of here. Dr. Ladd moves here to Charleston to prove that he's not just after her cash. And on his way into town, he had a coachman that set him up to be robbed and killed. So it's not a very good start to his stay here in Charleston. Somebody was walking by and knew the coachman and what his intentions were, and that person walking by was named Ralph Isaacs. I say his name slowly because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. We were getting the letters RI on the regular Spirit Boxes all the time, so I bought a new device. It's called an Envoy. We're not using it tonight, but it's basically a digital Ouija board. Whenever I brought up Ralph's name, and we've had it about 7 times in the past year, we get the letters RI consecutively. I wanted to know what it was referencing, back to the Rhode Island or Ralph. It's definitely Ralph every time. Back to Ralph. He tells Doc, I know this guy, the coachman. He's going to try to kill you. He's like, why don't you come with me to 59 Church Street? You can rent a room from these friends of mine, and you'll be safe. Good to go. Doc took him up on the offer, and the two gentlemen became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's cash. He's making his own. He's doing well. She gets wind of this. She's moving down from Rhode Island so they can be married. Dr. Ladd then became known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time, and yes, it's the 1780s, men whistled all the time. This is why I hate the damn story. Every haunted city you will ever visit is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. Ours just happens to be a doctor. So why are we in Dueler's Alley for this whole scenario? Let's get into that. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doc makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. So, on the way home from seeing Richard III one night, they are arguing over the actress that they just saw. She had never been here before, and they were discussing it. Well, Doc thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island, and he got really ugly. They went their separate ways. Now, Ralph has friends. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, and he tells them to place an ad for him, telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of shit. Doc saw the ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. Somebody's gonna die. I want everybody to keep in mind that this argument started over an actress. Kind of a dumb thing. So the two gents, friends by the way, came down, back to back, took their 10 paces, they turned, Doc pointed his gun in the air, shot his one shot from his flintlock. He didn't want to kill his friend, he just needed the courage to show up to the fight, which is often what happens at a duel, by the way. But Ralph has his one bullet in his flintlock, puts it in the kneecap on the Doc. Doc didn't die, but Ralph proved his point. He's still pretty pissed off. He's gonna, not kill his friend, but not forgive either. Doc fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later after refusing medical treatment on November 2nd of 1786. I'm going to point out 2 things about that last statement. It's 1786. Gunshot wounds back then, a lot different than what we know of them now. Secondly, he is a doctor. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself, but obviously he failed. That's Remy, in case anybody was wondering. I've seen all the heads turn. We are in his house. If you don't know who Remy is, watch a Disney movie. You'll get it. Now, so the doctor piece, every ghost story tells their guests to listen for the whistles while they're here. We have 3 cameras running plus my voice recorder. If we capture a disembodied whistle, more than likely it'll be on one of those 4 devices. However, 2 red Spirit Boxes, especially Sarah, you have the one that's recording right now, right? Yeah. I can tell by the lanyard. So yours is green, hers is red. Red means record. Sorry, a little tactics with all of your devices, by the way. In the event that we have the whistling part of a song and then the word doctor immediately after, I can't tell you how many times I've actually heard that, not looking for it. It just happens while we're in here. I was going to take this location out of my route because it is a staple for all the other ghost tours. More than likely, if you've been a ghost tour in Charleston, you've heard this story, so I was going to take it out just to have something new. But this guy follows me around for the rest of our entire evening, based off the places that we're going are nearby places of raised emotion for him. So it's very interesting indeed, as you're going to see this guy. And again, this guy's story's been told for like the past 40 to 50 years. I'm the only one that ever communicates back. So you guys get the point of why he's trailing me and not necessarily hanging around for these groups of 20 to come down here and talk about the whistling ghost. So that's how this goes. If you're going to try this on your own and walk all the way through the alley, by the way, because I can't take you all the way through, I'm going to explain that. I've actually been kicked out of here. That's the fun part of the story. I'm going to get into it. Tracie's like, oh shit, what are you teaching these people? But just seeing the look on your face was like, oh my god. But anyway, use your voice recorders on your phones, but just remember, every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Queen or Cumberland, we all throw a whistle down this alley. It's just something we do here. So they're very easily debunkable. If you find a disembodied whistle, which I have some, it's very quick and faint, and it's not in a tune. It's very quick. So they're just subtle. Now, here's how I got kicked out of here. Here's the fun part. You guys ready? The alley didn't go all the way through the way we came in. There used to be a wall up there. Reason why, this used to be called Cow Alley. This is where they kept all the livestock for the city of Charleston. So cows, goats, and chickens are all down and through here. So why am I telling you this? The bricks down on the other side are older than the bricks we're standing on. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there. So when you were telling me like punished symbol, I was kind of like, oh, where did you hear that from? That's where I was getting that from. But anyway, the handprint, and there's a couple of fingerprint swipes in other bricks if you really look around down there for a history lesson. Nothing paranormal. I already told you how I feel about cemeteries. That's the last place you're going to find the kid that made that handprint. You guys got the point, right? November 26th of 2020, I took my entire group of 10, about the same size as you guys, down there for their history lesson. I always tell the story ahead of time so we could just pass by, and I would just point at the brick as we walked on by. Well, they all stopped and huddled around the brick, waiting for something to happen. I try to shoo them along because we're also outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful, not realizing we were out of bounds for tours. I was still new at this. So, the new owner of that mansion, he came out screaming. My daughter, London, thought it was hysterical. She's cracking up. She's laughing on the ground. Her father's getting yelled at. She's all about it. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I worked in upper management for Walmart before I started doing this, and you guys like to fight over towels on Thanksgiving, and you scarred me for life. If you haven't seen like people at Walmart.com, go back and take a look at some fights over towels. It's a good time. Anyway, moving on. The next day was the 28th. I called my partner that brought me into tourism. I told him what happened so I could figure out what to do next, and he tells me, dude, he's laughing, by the way, just like my daughter, and he said, you're only allowed to go down halfway. Otherwise, you got to reroute the group. He's like, you're sold out again tonight. Reroute your group. It's Black Friday. So what I told my group is, I don't believe in the next story because I'm into vampires, not pirates. The next story used to be a pirate story, but again, it's being monitored right now. So before we left the space, somebody with a spirit box heard the name Anne. I told them which pirate we were going to be diving into. The female pirate, Anne Bonny. I was like, okay, definitely wasn't looking for that, were you? So we're going to let these folks pass through. A little bit of a commercial break. How you doing, guys?
Good, how are you?
You good? So, again, got the name Anne, but somebody else heard the number 300. I didn't know what it meant. I wrote it down. I did the research for them. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720, the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was actually kind of pissed off. Here's why. Master's degree in creative writing. That means anything I do, especially anything dealing with ghosts, has to be factual. Pirate stories come from pirate lore. That's a problem for me. If pirate lore is written 100 years after the golden age of piracy. How you doing, guys? Anytime somebody found something when I was taking people up there, and again, this is how I learn about it. I just keep repeating it until it's a nice, big, extravagant story for a year or two, and then I retire it and move on. But the pirate story, I had to read more books to kind of validate what was going on, and I've read more books on pirates, documentaries, played video games, you got the point. I was actually quite ticked off. I'm even more ticked off now. I can't tell the story anymore. Because again, it was a nice big space where we were able to spread out, but they're monitoring that space where I used to spread it all out.
Gotcha.
So we are going to be going up and around the corner. We're going to use that camera as a focus when we get up there. It is a popular spot as well. We may have to wait our turn just depending on how many other tours are up there, so I may give you the story ahead of time first. AJ, I'll definitely want you listening up and around the corner when we get there. And again, other cameras, if you want to record as we exit and go around the corner, you can if you want to. But again, not necessary. I will need all three cameras focused on John's, the same focus, but John's will be definitely the one of concern when we get up there. You'll see why once we get there. Any other major questions on dueling or killing people? Wow, silence is compliance with you guys. There we go. There's a couple of chuckles. Have we heard anything before we leave the space? I know it's hard to listen to me.
Just heard whistling as you said that.
Whistling and what?
400.
400 and whistling.
I got Dan and Vivian.
Dan and Vivian.
Yeah.
That sounds romantic. 400 whistling. Was the word doctor immediately after it, like I normally find it?
It sounded like Western whistling. Like I don't know, like
whistles are whistles, man.
yeah.
Like, even if a train whistle comes by, I'm kind of like, okay, it's vague, it's a stretch, but I like it. We still heard a train whistle on the radio, which isn't something you normally hear. Any EMF in this location, Tracy? So I forgot to tell you, in this location, I usually look for 8 or above because the lamppost will give off up to a 7 while we stand around this corner. Oh, by the way, I know it's very warm down here. I try to speed this one along because we're not going to spread out anyway. But the gate behind me, there's a reason why it's there. Remember I told you that there was a wall up there? In the event there's a loser to the duel down here, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery that we're going to go take a look at. Otherwise, they have to carry the dead body all the way down to Queen Street and then double back before they can go celebrate with a winner with a pint. You guys are getting the point. The wrought iron that you see on there was probably put there in the early 1900s, but you can see that the archway is definitely part of the original wall. So very cool stuff. And Dueler's Alley wasn't a city name, like that was its nickname. So I want to say at that time it was called Kinloch's Court, but the nickname was Dueler's Alley. All right, let's go up and see if we can capture an apparition and see what we can do with this one. You guys all have your job. Perfect. Thanks, John. Definitely listen in, and AJ will get you cranked up along the way. Let's do it.
I heard like whistling.
I heard a slight something out of that too. Definitely a higher note.
Do I need to be recording now?
No, we're just walking.
Okay.
I'm close enough now to where if it's going to pick up, it'll be on the voice recorder. Glad that rain decided to break.
How long do them horse tours run a night?
So during the summer, obviously they run them obviously later. I've seen them out here because I usually stay up till like 11:30, and I don't see them out that late. So I would say it's probably 10:30, 11. So that's probably like the last run for that pony there.
Project or something.
On mute for just a few minutes while I explain what this history is here on the gate and get it so that way we can get some filming. Just try to keep your cameras as steady as possible. And I'm going to go through this story of what's actually going on here. So I'm going to get out of the way for Mike. You can jump in there. So for the rest of you, this location, I don't know, right in front of John. If you want to lower your camera, just like point it at the ground, there's a sign right in front of you. That sign reads, "There's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost." The reason why is they don't want jerks like me with all of these crazy cameras trying to recreate what happened. So here's what happened. 1888, a young lady passed away by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Anybody want to tell me what her initials are? Sue Howard Hardy. What's it spell out? Very cheesy, very campy, but we've seen it and we've heard it. On my little Ouija board device, we've had the initials come up and we've had it show up on Patty's word list before. So just take it for what it's worth at this location. Now she dies 6 days after her stillborn child. Okay, so that's a very sad story, and yes, I'm telling you about another dead baby. There's going to be one more tonight, I'm sorry. However, 1987, 99 years later, on the exact day of her death, of June 16th, we have a local photographer taking pictures of all of our beautiful cemeteries, and he captures a full apparition in one of his pictures. Well, it's 1987. He doesn't have the technology that we have now, so he sends it off to Kodak. So Kodak can confirm the camera that it is, that he said it was, and that nothing was altered on this photo. So the picture is said to be cursed to females. Females that handle it in a digital format, even in a physical printed out format, are said to get headaches, nausea, dizziness. So the same symptoms we talked about at the beginning of our night. Pregnant females are said to not have a good pregnancy. I'm going to show the picture, but I'm going to ask to not touch my tablet. I'm not going to be the guy where there's a honeymoon going on or something and 9 months later I cursed your family. So again, in the events that we have evidence from this, and by the way, in your report, you will have links to be able to verify all of these things that I'm telling you that I'm going to label as evidence. So you're going to have a lot of homework to do. In the event we have something from Sue to where I can verify that it came from her, it'll say safe link, so that way the females aren't accidentally holding it on their phone and trying to click the link. Okay, so if you want to look up that picture on your own, I'm going to show it to you now. But again, just try not to handle it on your phones in the event you want to go Google it later. And the other tours, they all stop here. This is usually their last finale. So they all come up here because this is their show and tell. So here's your picture, by the way. Your apparition is right here. You're looking at a woman praying over her own grave, and the baby basket is right next to her. And remember what I told you about baby George? This could have been another theory because I could not find records for the child, for the stillborn baby. So your full picture is right here. Now normally if you type in top 100 best apparitions ever caught, this usually falls in the top 100, which is why every ghost tour comes up here. This is kind of their big finale show and tell. Now her grave, for you, those of you with cameras, if you look at the cross headstone in the background up there in the distance, we are actually closer to her from the alleyway. Her grave is just to the left of that, on the other side of that like rounded headstone. So it's one more row, like even towards the back. That's where this picture was taken, was from the back. So
It's not the cross, it's the one next to it.
it's the one next to it's to the left of it, and one more back. I used the cross one because it's the most referenceable. But with this said, this happened on June 16th. So what was June 16th of this year? Does anybody remember? Just last week was Father's Day. So I don't work on Father's Day. I'm a dad. So the night of the 15th, I finished up their data, and I decided afterwards I'm going to come down here because now it's the 16th. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I have John's camera. Poke it right in the gate, and I hear this. Hey. Jingling of keys, and then the word hey. I only had 1 minute and 8 seconds of footage. I went back and checked the footage, no sounds anywhere. So I literally poked it in, and I said, because I was going to record it for like TikTok and my socials and things like that, because of what the anniversary was. And I said, we're going to get about 5, maybe 10 minutes of footage, and then I heard that noise, and I said, I guess we're not. And I literally put the camera down and walked off to my car. Because again, I'm not going to either piss off the grave robber, or maybe, I don't think Sue Howard Hardy from 1888 is going to say the word hey, but you guys are getting the point. I was trying not to overstep my bounds. Again, I do run a business. I don't need tickets and violations against my business of what I do out here.
What church is this?
This is St. Philip's. So this is our tallest steeple. So just fun fact for everybody here, no building in Charleston can be taller than this steeple. That's the rule of thumb. Just to keep our skyline. That's why we're called the Holy City. The light to your left, by the way, did you guys ever all see that big bright light there off to the left? The church put that in there to try to deter us from getting light flares on pictures and regular cameras. But the paranormal cameras that you guys are using can cut right through that thing. That's why I love John's camera for this experiment, because if we have movement, it's not going to be a light flare. So there's a lot of little debunking pieces I can get. I don't have anything yet from this cemetery. This was the story I wasn't telling while I would do the pirate story instead across the street. But you guys already know that one's off limits for me right now. Anybody hearing anything, by the way? Sarah, Matt?
I heard like $3.99, like a price.
But you heard 99.
Like right there, $3.99.
99 years after her death was the first picture that was captured. So $3.99.
Okay.
I would count that as we have a slight relevance.
Okay.
I heard a hotel about 5 minutes ago.
Just the word hotel.
There's a cat over there.
There's Jackie.
Where?
There's Jackie.
Is it a black cat?
No, it's an orange cat. Black cats are not unlucky. That's not true.
I love black cats.
Me too.
So we're going to get another minute or two of footage because that tour over there to our left is probably waiting on our spot. So, Mike, have you seen anything crazy come out of your camp?
No.
So what will happen is once we get out of their way, I'll take us across the street and explain our last location, just because it is an experiment where it's completely different than what we've been doing, and it's going to be kind of weird for some of you. I think I need to explain it. Alright, let's go ahead and put a stop to this. 33 and everybody's a gentleman back then. So somebody's seen a woman on the ground and stopped to help her. He gets out of his car and he's trying to figure out what's going on with her. He can't figure it out. So he helps her into his car. And he takes her down to where MUSC sits now, but it was St. Roper's Hospital back then. So it's a couple of miles away, and she gets down there, and she has a doctor. The doctor's name is Dr. James Avery Finger. I say his name slowly because we've seen all three parts of his name show up on different spear boxes. Communication. So, the doctor can't figure out what's going on with her either. She dies on his table. He has no idea what happened. So, her name was Mary Ravenel. If you came over here from Mount Pleasant, didn't somebody say they were staying in Mount Pleasant? You came over here on the giant bridge? That's the Ravenel Bridge. This is a prominent name here in Charleston. You're going to hear it often while you're here. She was I'm going to tell you more about her, but let's kind of get into what happened to her. The doctor, who couldn't figure it out, sends her over to the coroner. So, during the autopsy, he can figure it out. Well, the coroner finds a scrape underneath her arm, and then a bullet hole in her rib cage. Apparently a location when shot directly in doesn't bleed very heavily. So that's why neither the passerby or the doctor could figure it out. They find the .38 caliber inside of her chest. That's how she died. Now, a couple of things. We already know that the woman was picked up, which means the shooter got away. We have no idea who he is to this day. We do know he is a he because she said, "A man hit me." That was in the police report. Okay, so we know it was a male, at least that much. The other big part of this is there's no gunpowder residue on her body. All of her cash and jewelry were intact. She was not robbed. This is a 64-year-old widow. I want to put that in perspective too, because that probably just changed how you guys are going to question this woman. So, as you're trying to come up with a question or two of what you would like to know, so that way AJ can actually hear the actual voices from Mary come through here, I'm going to tell you what we've caught. When I first started doing this is the new spot for this year. I literally started on November 1st of 2023, just for the anniversary of it. A couple of weeks after that, we actually had a help in the background on a perfectly quiet night. No cars, no people, no anything. I sent somebody around the corner to verify that there was nobody nearby. A couple of weeks later, we had a help me, I have fallen. Same voice. You have to imagine, I do this for a living. I'm able to analyze the sound waves that come out of all of your devices. It is the same exact voice. So, take that for what it's worth. I do have a couple of mumbles, but I can't count that as evidence because I don't know what they're saying. So I can't count that it was anything. So we do have a lot of cars and a couple of people, I think there's a tour group behind me, in case I'm giving myself local notes. What would you ask Mary to try to get her to talk to us? What do you want to know out of this murder mystery? If there's a theory behind it, I'll let you know.
Who shot her?
Who shot her? Okay. We don't know. There's no theory. There's a lot of theories of who it was. But again, I'll kind of get more further into that once we see some of what these other questions. Okay. Well, that's a perfect question too. I'm going to point out that that's a yes/no question. It is okay in this instance because it would be her voice. She would say, "Yes, I do," to verify. It's not going to be a simple yes/no answer. So again, I would accept yes/no questions in this type of scenario because it would be her voice. So did she know them? Who was it? What else do we have?
What time?
Description.
Did it
Time,
happen?
descriptions. I like it.
Who's your enemy?
Any enemies? Okay. Well, let me give you this much. She was a widow from the Ravenel family. She married into it. She's from Detroit, Michigan. You were in the Deep South. Let's take a few stabs in the dark and throw darts at the board of what actually happened here. So you guys can try to put that piece together. Again, she probably still has the Ravenel money after the husband passes away, and the Ravenel family is probably not happy that a Northerner has her money or has their money. So again, could it have been a family member? Could have been. Don't know. There's theories. What else? It's okay. This is a hard one. Patty, you got anything?
Well, this one named Lucas.
Not anywhere. Well, we do have a Pinkley buried across the street, but I don't know if they would be talking about their mom. It's Thomas who's buried across the street.
Holy well, the ghosts are everywhere.
Sarah, you got anything? Questions that you would ask?
Does she think it was on purpose?
Okay. Was she a target?
Was it accidental?
Okay. There is a theory that it was an accident, that somebody was trying to get rid of the cats in the neighborhood, and they were using a .38, and she got in the way. My question is, why the hell are you using a .38 on a neighborhood cats? Like, wouldn't they, like, explode? Like, I'm sorry, it just seems a little extreme. Sorry about the church bells. Some people, like, because I continue talking, because of us, the church bells sound normal. The person under, like, I can't tell you how many times, like, are there church bells going off right now? Like, it's in their head kind of thing. They think it's in their head. Anyway, have we heard anything, by the way, on either? I know it's hard to focus on
Got
that.
it a little bit turned down.
Yeah.
Like, was she being followed?
Okay. That's a new one. Were you being followed? So just know, like, you guys telling me these questions, if she's here, we're going to get the answers from her. You're not, you know, we don't need to shout.
I own a Jeep.
And again, it is very noisy out here. We had, obviously, another tour group. We got lots of traffic. I do love the fact that that thing said traffic and Broad. Like, it knew where we were going. Because this is Broad Street that runs this way. Right? So,
It has said disappointed a couple of times.
did it?
Hasn't it said disappointed?
Interesting. Just depends on what was going on.
Yeah, it was like over there, and then
I
he
got
said it
plane
was-
stiff.
Can we ask her what state she's from? Because we
That's a good
know.
one. Yeah, we do know. We have an answer.
I don't
on that.
like it. Sorry.
But it's definitive. It can be proven. So if we get Michigan, I like it.
I got deposit. Could that be with the money?
Could have been.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
She owed money.
She did have money.
Deposit.
Who got, when she died, who got her money?
Probably would have went down to her daughters. Because I want to say she had 2 daughters.
How many daughters did she have?
Now she's going after the shit she knows. You guys catching on to that? She's cheating. I love it.
What were their names?
Well, she's taking my advice from the beginning of the night. You know, what color is a big red barn? So she's looking for things she can prove. My hope here is that I actually get enough clues and breadcrumbs where I can actually turn something over to the police. Like, hey, this is a cold case.
What was her first name again?
Mary. All right. Anybody else want to give this thing a quick listen before we go blindfold some people? You want to give it a listen?
Yeah, thank
All right. Go ahead and peel off your headphones, AJ. It's all right. Hang on to the front. There you go. Kind of give that a
Cheers,
too.
man.
Kind of see what you got. Thing's nuts in there, isn't it? So has anybody ever listened to like 8D music before? You guys know what I'm talking about? It's exactly what that feels like. Like everything is coming from everywhere. It's pretty nuts. Any other words that we need to know about Patty?
The newest one was he.
Just he?
He.
I just got money from
Raise.
here.
Money? Priest?
Raised. And finished.
Wow, you're getting a lot over here.
Yeah.
Just wondering if you're getting the whole story. As a writer, I could probably make a whole story out of what you've been giving me if I really could.
And some come up like when I went to a money.
Sarah, you got anything else coming out of there? He's got money and priest. We're also on a street corner, so if you're going to get anything, it's going to come from that street light. Now, the next location, we're going into this park behind me. Pay attention the minute we walk in. We've seen triple digits in there. So, I mean, literally stay focused. It's pretty nuts.
Had a shiver.
Am I walking over your grave?
I heard gunshot.
Did it come from this group over here?
Very quiet.
Still recording. I'll be able to check it out. Gunshot.
It was very quiet.
Was it a male or female?
It was a female.
Okay. Not so far has been in real time like that. Like, it wasn't me finding it when I went to the office. It was real time. That's what I love about this live session.
I want to hear it.
Tracie's like, I want it.
It sounded like someone was whispering in the corner.
We're gonna need that for the next location.
Yeah, I can hear that. I can hear all of it.
This is it.
Okay, I got you.
Every night in like
So when we get to the next location, I'll sit the 3 people down that are going to be part of the experiment. Mike, you'll hand your camera off to AJ, because obviously you won't be able to use the camera and the virtual reality piece at the same time. So that way he can film it and check that thing out. And then the other, I'll explain what everybody's roles are as far as the other communication device. The only one that's left would be Patty's device. in the event that I'm not getting answers out of the people that are seated on the bench, it could come to you as well. So yeah, you'll be telling me what word you get as the only other communication device that will not be involved with this experiment. You got anything coming up there? That will prove it. Alright, there's a square button to come ahead and tap it. We're going to about 12 minutes recording. That's about the average. Go ahead and seal it off. I'll hand this back to you, and I'll start this guy away. I feel like I'm screaming at you guys again. Ghost hunting should be a little bit on the sneaky side, right? Alright, let's go. Blindfolds holding people and walking away, it never looks good. So you guys get the point on that. So don't just sit here and just kind of hang out for a couple of minutes, you know, become besties. And then I'm going to go teach them the history for 5 minutes right over there. And then we're going to come back and watch this whole thing unfold. But I'm going to give you guys a few tips and tricks of what to expect out of this scenario once we get back. So just kind of keep that in mind. Mike, your virtual reality headset, if you could just hang on to that for me until I come back and set it up for you. Your blindfolds are disposable. I don't want them back. Use your own eye boogers. And there are trash cans on all exits of the park, no matter which way you're going. They are origami projects that will open all the way up to be a Batman mask. It will not wrap around your head, so good luck. It's kind of giving you something to do while we're gone for 5 minutes. If you screw them up, it's okay. I have more. They're disposable. That's why I carry a lot of them. Let's go learn some history. We're going to go over this way.
Should I stay over here or just leave them where it's at?
What's that?
I said, should I stay with them or just stay
you're
with
going to
y'all?
come with me so you can learn the history. This is a quick one. So again, I try not to leave the people on the bench waiting for too long because they're sitting with a bunch of strangers. She's like, they're fine. Again, if I'm not getting answers out of Sarah and Matt, I'm hoping that the answer is going to come to you because you're the only one with communication device. All 3 cameras, feel free to, you know, face those cameras wherever you want to. I would prefer if, John, if you would keep yours focused on them, because I'm not giving them this history tonight. They're going to have to wait for the voice recording or the videos. I'm a jerk like that. I like to keep everything a mystery. So here's how this goes.
Real quick.
You totally broke an iPad?
I think
Seriously?
I did, actually, yeah. You can... Oh! What button was that?
You just
It was magic.
Thank
Psychic like that.
Thank you.
And again, you don't have to keep the cameras on them right now, obviously. You guys are getting the point. So first time I came in here, this was the new spot for last year. It was November, and that's when I always do my new research because it's after Halloween. You guys are seeing that. But anyway, I only had 2 people because it was cold and everybody canceled. Kind of like what happened to you guys yesterday. But the young lady using this has been George Washington. Alright, you guys figure out your blindfolds first and foremost?
Yeah.
Okay. No, he didn't. You failed. I said they would not go all the way around your head. It's okay. If you're comfortable wearing it like that, I can fix it.
Wait, what?
So normally, because I have young ladies that do this and I'm trying not to screw up their hair, it's a Batman mask. Your ears go in here.
Oh. I was like, there's no way this fits around my head, but clearly I just wasn't listening to what you were saying.
I heard what you said, but I was like, I don't understand. So it's
Don't put anything on yet. Here's what to expect. In the event, because you're going to be telling me everything you hear in real time. When you hear it, say it. Okay? You don't know what I'm asking, so tell me literally everything you're hearing. It'll be yes, no, Charleston, whatever. You have no idea what the hell I'm asking. If you're too loud, a family member will tap you on the shoulder. Quiet down. We have neighbors. I try not to piss them off. So when we're done, 2 of you won't be able to hear me. Say we're done. They're going to tap you on the leg. I don't touch you guys. It'll be a family member. Take off your own ear. So again, I never do any of that stuff for you. So again, I don't like to startle you guys, but your own family members scare the hell out of you. Because you guys always jump like 10 feet in the air. We will do this for about 10 minutes or so, based on what's going on and how you guys are handling it. Is that the noise you don't like?
Yeah, right.
Just to take my pills.
Have you ever done virtual reality before?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not going to be Jurassic Park where they eat your face off. This is going to be a galaxy off in the distance, nice and smooth, just so you don't fall asleep. And every once in a while, you're going to see an image appear in front of it. You're going to briefly describe the image in front. I say briefly because they're going to be talking over you. They don't know that you're talking. because they're just saying it as they hear it. Just briefly describe what you're seeing. Pulling it down. You're going to give us a minute to line up with me. But again, if it's 3 people bench tree, just say 3 people on a bench next to a tree. And then if they're not talking, I may ask you probing questions like, hey Mike, what are they wearing? Can you give us a time era? You know, things like that. So the cool thing for you guys is these images saved to this phone. You're going to get them all back in your report. And I run them through Google Lens to see what else is going on in there in case I miss something. We will also be able to see all of his images before we leave. So after the experiment is over, I'm going to go through them and show you all of the images that you saw. This is the focal point right here, so in case it's blurry, just turn this dial. But all you'll have to do is look straight ahead. Don't look down, you'll hit those virtual buttons. And let's get you guys blindfolded up, headphones on, crank them up. And as soon as you guys put those headphones on, it's when I start the timer. So as you hear it, don't forget to talk.
Turn down.
Okay, turn it up so you can't hear me.
Okay.
Did not hear you.
What color is the blue banana? Purple. Alright. Henry, what sound did we just hear out of the church? We're just going to dive right into it. What sound did we hear out of the church? I got 3 people sitting here. This is Sarah, Mike, and Matt. They can hear and see whatever you want us to hear and see. Use them.
Beth. Angelica.
Henry.
Sorry.
Use the blue box tonight too, Henry. You sound like flapped out on that the other night. You didn't get one. We just heard some sounds out of the church. You can tell us what that is, but I'm going to move into you specifically.
The outside.
What did you do for a living? Tell us about your occupation.
Piano. Jazz music.
Henry, I know it's very loud out here. I know you don't normally care for that. I can't control the vehicles that go by here. Henry, can you tell us about your job, please? Henry, did somebody else come here with you?
Piano.
I want to remind you guys that Dr. Lack will also come through these sessions as well because the house he lives in is literally right around the corner. So sometimes we'll see Dr. Lack. That's why I usually ask if there's anyone else here. Henry, we're focused on you. Can you tell us about your job?
Shooter.
Wow.
Involved.
Mary, did you come along? By the way, guys, this is how I learned about Mary Ravenel, the story I told you over there. I actually had an image showing up on Mike's device of a woman laying on the ground. And then when I discovered the Mary Ravenel story, I
Tell the world a prayer.
put the 2 pictures that were found from his imagery next to Mary, twins. It's crazy. That's why I told the Mary Ravenel story from this experiment. Henry, if Mary came with you, can you tell us Mary's name, please?
Loves me.
Mike's the one. Love in that galaxy?
Yeah. Halfway there.
Henry?
Wednesday. President.
Who was president during your time? Can you tell us that? Henry?
Someone humming. Kanye West.
George West. Henry, let's get some verification that you're here.
The first.
I asked you a couple of questions so far. I asked you about the church bells. I asked you about your job. I asked who was president during your life. Yeah, Ronald Lincoln. Talking Civil War.
Hard to breathe.
Hard to breathe. to talk about your death?
Guitar.
It's a yes/no question, Henry. Do you want to talk about your death?
I'll be there.
Henry, what's so significant about your death? Why is it so important?
Fell out.
What fell out? Maddie, do we have any words?
Yeah.
Good news.
Manifest, learning, distinguish, beat,
Trying to win every single.
defeat, disability,
Humming.
What humming is it?
Good mood.
learn,
All night long.
I just feel like, Tracie, I want to take a picture of you. Just to make sure, like, I should have had something from everybody.
Resume. Talking. Keep talking.
Really running properly. There's no reason why you shouldn't have anything.
Hold me.
Henry, you said hard to breathe.
I'll be your friend.
When was it hard to breathe?
Go, go, go.
We're not leaving yet, Henry. We got time. We've only been here for probably 5 or 6 minutes. Henry, we're running out of time. Henry, we're not leaving. And you know that's not your code word for us to end this session anyway.
More humming.
You
Waiting
might
to
actually-
survive.
You might be getting like different body voices.
The word survive.
So it's
Giving
hard-
it my hardest.
Henry, tell us about your last page. that you
Proven.
wrote.
Proven to help.
What's so unique about your last page that you wrote?
City.
Say no dignity or no diggity?
When you still don't know. When I look in your eyes.
Henry, can you use the blue box? Give us a vision. Tell us about your last page that you wrote. Down to about 2.5 minutes.
The whole thing.
Like to do it
Took a
early.
couple weeks.
Henry, I don't know why you're shying away from the blue box. You didn't give us anything the other night either.
My granddaddy put his hand.
Henry, finally,
Graveyard.
grab the graveyard.
On demand.
It looks like someone behind a grave. Oh, he's peeking out. It's peeking out.
Person?
Yeah, it looks like it's jumping up and down. It's like a
Anti-accident.
little
Surprised at how many people.
black spot. It's like almost like a video.
Remember it?
What's up with that?
Henry, what's going on with this cemetery graveyard that we're seeing in the image? Can you tell us who's in that
And
picture?
we're working too hard.
Who's in the picture?
It was sunny and there was pink flowers.
It's your wife's grave?
Download.
Because you're not buried in a cemetery, are you? Henry, if you give us another image, we'll go ahead and call it
Give
that.
you up.
Can you give us another image that's something we can prove to verify you're here?
Wild card.
We go down. Higher.
Pretty damn good at this stuff. Just so you know. so you didn't have that much. Henry, one more image, we'll call it a day. We'll leave you alone.
Show me it.
I'm a victim of.
What? Tell us. Show us.
Get this. Whatever. But I do think I had it the whole time.
He's like having a whole conversation with himself over here.
I had you.
You okay?
Henry. Last call.
And then you were.
Henry going once. One more
You were
image.
silly.
Henry going twice. Alright, family members, let's go ahead and tap him out. Mike, unfortunately, pull it off your face. You got something coming?
City in the coast.
We got one image that we're going to take a
That was
look at.
cool. It was almost like a video more than an image. I thought.
Am I turning it down?
No,
If I just turn down, okay.
we're good. Alright, so with yours, next to your volume button, you have a regular button. I want you to slide that button in the opposite direction. It'll turn the machine off. So let's take a look at this image. By the way, none of you get up like baby giraffes falling on the ground. We don't need any of that.
Yeah.
But let's see the image that Mike got, and maybe there was some more that being generated that they just didn't show again. Nope, only one. Big flowers. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. So here's the image that he got.
Oh wow.
I mean, really basic stuff. What's funny about this is that Henry is not buried in a cemetery. He's actually buried in Colombia as like a memorial site, and it's a sarcophagus above ground next to his son. So, again, I don't find anything like super significant about this. I probably saw like the pink might be, but there's not even any writing on the headstones. There's no anything written there. So I can't even say like this is where his wife might be buried, because again, there's nothing written anywhere. But again, sometimes we get writing, sometimes we don't. But again, it's also artificial intelligence. It can be very weird. By the way, if you have a camera, go ahead and hit those stop buttons. You can relax.